With the Las Vegas Raiders all but officially taking Fernando Mendoza, it's time to ask who is the first defensive player off the board, switching to the other side of the ball. Matthew, what do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of great names if you're a fan of defense in this draft. Obviously, you got Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Ruben Baines. We talked about it before, so I'm just going to give my guy right now. I think without a doubt, well, I'm not going to say without a doubt because then we're going to come back here and I'm going to look a fool. But I'm going to say it's going to be David Bailey out of Texas Tech. I like Arvell Reese a lot. However, I just feel like David Bailey fits with the Jets more. I don't see the Jets going any other, area except for the defensive line. And Bailey's stats are just so good to look at, 14 and a half sacks on the season. And I trust Texas Tech, who has literally made their identity in college football to be defense U. The talent from the school to the NFL, we haven't seen that yet. But if you follow college football, I mean, this is such a good defensive school, and David Bailey is the star of it. So I'm going to go with David Bailey here.
So they don't really have, I mean, when you have the second overall pick, I don't think you have very many bad options.
Yeah.
I definitely want to give shout outs to, Ruben Bain. Um, maybe, yeah, I mean, David Bailey is probably the safest pick. I will say, though, Arvell Reese is just a player. Maybe the Jets don't go with him, but I think he's pretty much can't miss, too. Just his size and his speed and everything like that is just so unbelievable. And production, playing at Ohio State as well. I think he's going to be a player that's going to hit. It's just about whether or not they feel like that's the best pick for their defense. Now, granted, he can also play the edge. So it's like when you're comparing, some of these guys, see who's the most versatile to, who actually fits what your scheme is also going to be an important conversation. But I would say Arvell Reese is probably the guy that I would take, but I just can't really disagree with you whenever you say David Bailey is going to go number 2 to the Jets. Now, this is going to be probably a defensive little run here after Fernando Mendoza. And then it's like, who needs somebody desperately on offense, and then that'll stop this, or who ends up going with, an offensive lineman towards the top of the draft. I don't think that this number 2 pick is going to be an offensive lineman. I think that they're going to go defense here. And I would say Arvell Reese would be my guy, but David Bailey can't go wrong with him either.
I mean, it's not so crazy, I guess, to say Arvell Reese could go second. I've seen a couple mocks saying he could. What I like about Arvell Reese is the versatility he brings. Obviously, he can play off ball, he can play on the line, and maybe the Jets like that because the Jets have a lot of positions to fill. So you might want to get a guy who can fill a couple different positions. But no, I think for what they're trying to build there on the line, I think Bailey's probably the best. And obviously, there's so many defensive players in this draft too. What are the chances a guy, Sonny Styles, one of the best combines ever. Maybe he blasts his way into that second slot, pick. I don't think so, but maybe.
Here's what I think is also interesting about this position group is I feel like you've got some of the main guys that we're mentioning here: David Bailey, Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, and then I think that there is a fairly big drop off from them and like Anthony Hill Jr., or even if you wanted to go with like a defensive tackle. I think that there's a fair amount of space. Akeem Mesidor, I don't know how much I love him, like especially like be like above top 15. Like there seems to be a pretty big gap. So I would say if you take any of those 4 guys within the top 10 range, I think that that's safe, probably smart drafting, and I think they're all pretty good in their own right. I think it's interesting though how like Ruben Bain, in my opinion, just from covering Miami a little bit, had to throw that in there, that like just watching him and the way that he played in the college football playoff, he was so good. It just sucks because like you're comparing him to guys who are also great players in their own right and had a fair amount of production. They just don't have the arm length issue. So it's like, technically, would you, if you care or if you slightly care and you're comparing them, then that could be a tiebreaker. And I think that seems to be more apparent as we're getting closer to the draft, that he's just probably going to be, maybe second or third at max off of the board, out of those 4 guys.
I am tired of talking about the arm.
I'm tired too.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a thing, and I guess people hold stock in it. And before all of it came out, like, I don't follow how big these guys' arms are. I thought Ruben Baines would 100% be, this guy, but, people don't see that. I definitely think it's going to be David Bailey. Of course, though, the stars are not just on the line. There's a lot of great players in the secondary. If they were going secondary here, which I don't think they will, I feel like we can't end this video without talking about Caleb Downs,
I
who
agree.
is going to be so great at the NFL level.
I mean, does positional value, like, it should be a conversation this high, right? Like, I think that that might be part of it, but yeah, I would agree. I don't think Caleb Downs is a player that could miss either. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what's so weird about it is like, I'm usually a person who's definitely always on board with taking, like, the guy who can't miss. Like, there's only a handful of those guys in each draft, but they don't get taken 1, 2, and 3 because you have, however many quarterbacks at the very top, and then it doesn't really always come down to positional need, but then some teams will just take a positional value. So out of those 3 guys, they'll take the number 1 if they're a tackle or whatever, or an edge. And then, some teams will just take the best at whatever position that they desperately need, or is maybe of higher value than a safety. I think that that's probably part of this. But yeah, Caleb Downs. I mean, whatever team gets him is just going to be high fiving in the war room, and we're going to see clips of it, and they're going to be just fine
Yeah.
because he's going to be a great player. I mean, he would definitely be the first guy off in the secondary, and if they were bold enough to do it, I mean, I'd say more power to him, especially post Jets pick. Post Jets pick, like if you want to take Downs, maybe compared to like one of the tackles.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know how much I'd be against that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. All I know, if you need defense and you're in this top 10, I think you're going to be just fine. But the Jets are going to find a way to screw it up for sure.